This message has found you because your consciousness is currently operating within what quantum physicists term an observer loop. This is a continuous cycle where your awareness repeatedly collapses the same probability waves, thus perpetually recreating the same reality. At this very moment, something within you is acknowledging this truth, because you've felt it, haven't you? That unsettling feeling of living through repetitive patterns, engaging in the same conversations, experiencing the same disappointments, as if your existence has become a broken record stuck on repeat. Your presence here watching this video is not a coincidence. It's synchronicity at its highest level. Your quantum field has been transmitting signals, desperately searching for the frequency that can break this loop. The universe, in response, has guided you to this precise message. Consider this. Millions are currently scrolling through online content. Yet, only a consciousness of your specific type, your particular frequency, would pause and feel the magnetic pull of these words. You've been chosen by the quantum field itself because you possess something most lack, the observer gene. This isn't some metaphysical fantasy. This is quantum mechanics. Your consciousness doesn't merely experience reality, it actively participates in its creation through the observer effect. However, here's the crucial detail they often omit. When your observer function becomes trapped in repetitive patterns, you don't simply witness the same reality. You actively and continuously manufacture it. Reflect on your life. How often have you found yourself in identical conversations with similar individuals? How frequently have you observed recurring patterns in your relationships, career, and daily life? This isn't simply bad luck or a lack of effort, it's your consciousness, caught in an observer loop, unconsciously selecting the same quantum possibilities from the infinite field of potential. You've likely noticed a peculiar distortion of time. Mundane moments stretch out, minutes feeling like hours, yet entire weeks seem to vanish without significant progress. This temporal distortion is a clear indicator that your consciousness is cycling through the same probability templates, creating the illusion of forward momentum while actually remaining static within the quantum field. Your loved ones might not grasp your experience as they operate on a different frequency, content with linear time and predictable outcomes. But you've always sensed that reality is much more malleable than most believe. You've experienced moments, perhaps fleeting, perhaps profound, where you felt a connection to the very fabric of existence, where synchronicities unfolded around you like a cosmic orchestra playing just for you. This recognition you feel now isn't your first encounter with these concepts. Your soul has prepared you for this understanding across numerous timelines and dimensions of experience. Each book that resonated, every spiritual practice that felt right, every moment of inexplicable knowing. These were all breadcrumbs leading you to this understanding of the observer loop. The critical decision, however, rests with you. Understanding this can either liberate or perpetually trap you. Most who discover their entanglement in an observer loop make a critical error. They attempt to intellectually analyze their way out, believing that understanding the mechanics will somehow reprogram their reality. This is akin to trying to escape a maze by studying a map instead of actually navigating the pathways. The observer loop isn't sustained by your thoughts, it's maintained by the nature of your attention. Each morning upon waking, your consciousness automatically searches for familiar patterns to fixate upon. It's like a quantum GPS system, repeatedly selecting the same destination because it feels safe and familiar. Your awareness has become habituated to recognizing the same frequency signatures, the same emotional landscapes, the same probability structures. The more you recognize these patterns, the more real they become, further solidifying your consciousness's expectation of finding them again. This creates what quantum field theorists call a reality feedback loop. Your observation strengthens the very patterns you're attempting to escape. Right now, as you listen, something unprecedented is occurring within your quantum field. The simple act of becoming aware of the observer loop begins to weaken its grip on your consciousness. This explains why this message has reached you at this precise juncture in your journey. Your higher self orchestrated this encounter because you've reached the threshold where breaking free isn't just possible, it's inevitable. You know that feeling. You're in a conversation. and suddenly realize you've had this exact exchange before. Not similar, but identical. The same words, tone, and outcome. Most dismiss this as déjà vu, but you sense a deeper process at work. You're experiencing what quantum consciousness researchers call temporal echoes, moments when your awareness briefly glimpses the repetitive nature of your observer loop. This isn't imagination or a trick of the mind. You're operating on a frequency inaccessible to most, which is why you perceive these reality glitches that others miss entirely. Your consciousness has developed what we call quantum sensitivity, the ability to perceive the underlying patterns that govern manifestation itself. You've probably experienced time's elastic nature. Sometimes, a single hour feels like an eternity, brimming with insights and downloads from higher dimensions. Other times, entire weeks vanish without any discernible account of what transpired. This temporal distortion occurs because your consciousness exists simultaneously across multiple reality tracks, seeking the one most resonant with your true vibrational frequency. And those moments of profound understanding, striking you out of the blue, where you suddenly grasp something about existence you've never learned or read about, these aren't random insights. They're quantum memories bleeding through from parallel versions of yourself who have already escaped their observer loops. Your consciousness is so advanced that it's downloading wisdom from your future timelines. The peculiar isolation this sometimes causes is understandable. You share these experiences, and your friends and family look at you as if you're speaking a foreign language. They remain within the old paradigm where reality is solid and immutable. But you've peered behind the curtain. You've seen that reality resembles a vast ocean of possibilities, and most are drowning because they don't realize they can swim. This explains why specific books seem to call out to you from crowded bookstores, why particular videos appear in your feed at precisely the right moment, why you consistently encounter people who share your unique perspectives on consciousness and reality. You're not attracting these synchronicities through positive thinking. Your quantum field is entangled with a network of awakening souls, all working simultaneously to break their own observer loops. Your dreams have likely grown more vivid and symbolic lately, receiving transmissions during sleep that your conscious mind struggles to interpret. These aren't random neural firings, they're communications from your higher self, showing you the disparity between your current reality track and the infinite possibilities at your disposal. Even your relationship with technology has shifted as you've mastered the observer effect. Your phone seems to respond to your thoughts. Your music streaming service plays the exact song you needed. Your social media feeds mirror your inner state with uncanny precision. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence that your consciousness has become so coherent that it's measurably influencing the quantum field around you. Everything you've endured, every disappointment, every seemingly inescapable pattern, every moment of perceived backward movement, none of it was wasted. It was all preparation for this precise moment of recognition. Your consciousness needed to experience the observer loop from every angle to develop the quantum awareness necessary to transcend it. Consider a butterfly struggling within its chrysalis. From the outside, it appears to be suffering, trapped, regressing. Yet each moment of this apparent confinement is a complete cellular reorganization. The caterpillar doesn't merely grow wings. Its entire DNA expression shifts to access abilities always encoded within, but never activated. Your challenging relationships weren't punishments. They were quantum mirrors, showing you precisely which observation patterns kept you locked in repetitive cycles. Each person who triggered you unconsciously helped you identify the specific frequencies where your consciousness becomes stuck. Every situation feeling like déjà vu was your higher self conducting controlled experiments to help you recognize the observer loop in action. The pressure you felt lately, that sense of urgency as if time is running out, isn't anxiety. It's your quantum field reorganizing itself. When consciousness prepares to leap to a higher timeline, it creates what physicists call phase transition pressure, like water transforming into steam when heated to the precise temperature. Your awareness is approaching the exact frequency where the observer loop loses its hold on your reality. Even your doubts and confusion have been essential. Each time you questioned the reality of these insights, you strengthened your discernment, developing the quantum sensitivity needed to distinguish between authentic expansion and spiritual bypassing. Your consciousness needed incredible precision before it could safely navigate the transition out of repetitive patterns. This is why the waiting period felt so intense. You knew a shift was imminent, but couldn't force it to happen faster. Breaking the observer loop isn't about effort or willpower. It's about reaching a specific level of coherence where your attention naturally begins selecting different probability waves from the quantum field. Your soul chose this particular incarnation precisely because the observer loop phenomenon would be discovered during your lifetime. You volunteered to be part of the first wave of human consciousness to transcend these limiting patterns and anchor new possibilities for the entire collective. Every moment of struggle was training for this cosmic responsibility. Something is building within you now as you listen. Can you feel it? That subtle shift in your energy field, like a tuning fork just struck. Your consciousness is beginning to vibrate at a frequency incongruent with your current reality patterns. This dissonance creates what quantum physicists call reality turbulence. This turbulence is positive. It means your observer loop is beginning to destabilize. The familiar patterns that have kept you cycling through the same experiences are losing their magnetic pull on your attention. You're entering what we call the breakthrough phase, the most delicate and powerful part of the transformation process. But here's where most are. They feel this energy building and immediately attempt to direct it toward changing their external circumstances. They desire shifts in relationships, finances, and life situations. However, the observer loop doesn't break by changing what you observe. It breaks by fundamentally altering the quality of your observation itself. Right now, your consciousness is downloading new protocols for engaging with reality. These aren't mental concepts to learn. They're energetic upgrades occurring at the cellular level. Your DNA is restructuring to support a different way of interfacing with the quantum field. This is why you might experience unusual physical sensations, altered sleep patterns, or sudden shifts in what foods or activities feel aligned. The most crucial action during this phase is learning to feel this energy without attempting to control it. Let it move through you, like water flowing through a riverbed, naturally carving new pathways in your consciousness. Your role isn't to direct this process, it's to become transparent to it, offering no resistance to the quantum reorganization already underway. This is the moment of profound change, but also the moment many unconsciously sabotage themselves. Fear of the unknown leads them to pull their attention back to familiar patterns, even if those patterns have caused them pain. Don't let this be you. What's happening is unprecedented in human history. You're witnessing your own conscious evolution in real time. Feel this energy as we delve deeper into the mechanics of the observer loop. Understanding how your attention has been trapped will prevent you from accidentally falling back into old patterns. I need to share something personal, knowing you'll understand in a way most wouldn't. 3 years ago, I was trapped in the most sophisticated observer loop I'd ever encountered. I considered myself spiritually advanced, quantum aware, conscious of reality's workings, but I was actually using my knowledge to create a more subtle prison for my consciousness. Each morning I'd wake up and immediately scan my reality for signs of progress, evidence that my manifestation techniques were working, proof of my evolution. But this constant observation froze my reality in place. The more desperately I sought change, the more my attention reinforced the very patterns I was trying to escape. I remember the exact moment of realization. I was meditating, frustrated because the same issues persisted despite years of inner work. Suddenly it struck me. I wasn't witnessing my reality. I was manufacturing it through my specific mode of observation. My consciousness was a record player stuck on the same track, and no spiritual practice could help me hear a different song. The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to observe my way out of the loop and instead began observing the observer itself. I started watching how my attention moved, where it got stuck, what patterns it automatically gravitated toward. This meta-observation created a completely different relationship with consciousness itself. For the first time, I understood why some effortlessly flow from one beautiful experience to another, while others remain trapped in repetitive cycles despite their best efforts. It's not about worthiness, karma, or spiritual development. It's about the fundamental mechanics of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. This discovery changed everything. My relationships shifted overnight because I was no longer unconsciously selecting for the same dynamic patterns. My creative projects began flowing because my attention stopped getting stuck on familiar obstacles. Even my physical health improved because my cells were finally receiving new information instead of the same stress signals on repeat. But the most profound change was recognizing that I'm not alone. There's an entire network of souls working simultaneously to break their observer loops. We found each other across the globe, sharing insights, confirming each other's experiences, creating a collective field that makes this transformation possible for more and more people. If this resonates deeply, if you feel that recognition frequency activating in your cells, then you're part of this network. You've been preparing for this understanding your entire life, even if you didn't realize it. Subscribe to this frequency, not just to this channel, but to the entire wavelength of consciousness evolution occurring on our planet right now. What quantum consciousness experts often fail to articulate, because many don't understand it themselves, is the difference between intellectual awareness of the observer effect and embodied mastery of it. You can read every book on consciousness, understand every theory on manifestation, and still remain trapped in your observer loop because knowledge and wisdom operate on entirely different levels of reality. Here's a shocking truth. Your thoughts don't create your reality. Your attention doesn't even create your reality. Your reality is created by the specific quality of coherence between your consciousness and the quantum field. And this coherence can't be faked, manufactured, or positive thought into existence. It emerges naturally when your observer function becomes fluid rather than fixated. Most operate like a searchlight, focused, intense, always looking for something specific. But quantum consciousness operates like sunlight, present everywhere, simultaneously illuminating without strain. When your awareness shifts from searchlight mode to sunlight mode, you stop collapsing the same probability waves repeatedly. The observer loop traps you because it makes your consciousness predictable to the quantum field. When you wake tomorrow, if your attention automatically scans for familiar patterns, checking your phone for the same messages, thinking about the same problems, expecting the same type of day, you're essentially ordering the same reality from the cosmic menu. But here's what will astound you. The quantum field is eager to deliver new experiences. Infinite possibilities constantly try to break through into your awareness, but they can't penetrate the observer loop because your attention is too busy reinforcing old patterns. You're not stuck because the universe doesn't want to help. You're stuck because your consciousness has become too habitual in its interface with infinite potential. The most advanced beings in the cosmos don't try to control reality. They dance with it. They maintain what we call coherent uncertainty, a state where their consciousness is fully present and engaged, but not attached to specific outcomes. This allows them to respond to reality rather than merely react to it, fundamentally changing the types of experiences that can manifest through them. This is why some seem to live charmed lives, while others struggle constantly, even with similar external circumstances. It's not about luck, privilege, or spiritual favoritism. It's about the fundamental coherence between their consciousness and the creative force of existence itself. When you master this coherence, you don't just change your personal reality, you become a catalyst for reality shifts in everyone around you. Your presence begins to create what we call quantum openings, moments where others' observer loops temporarily destabilize, giving them glimpses of their own infinite potential. The quantum shift is happening now, and there are specific signs you can recognize in your daily life that prove your observer loop is dissolving. First, you'll notice synchronicities becoming more frequent and impossible to dismiss as coincidence. The universe isn't just sending you signs, it's actively rearranging reality around your consciousness to confirm that you're breaking free from repetitive patterns. Pay attention to how animals, especially birds, respond to you. When your consciousness operates outside the observer loop, you naturally emit a different energetic signature that wildlife can sense immediately. More eye contact with birds, unusual animal encounters, or pets behaving differently around you confirm your quantum field is shifting. Your relationship with technology is probably changing too. Electronics might glitch, or conversely, work better than ever. Your phone might ring when you're thinking of someone, or your computer might crash every time you engage with content that doesn't match your new frequency. Technology is highly sensitive to consciousness, and these seemingly random events are your expanding awareness interfacing with electromagnetic fields. The most significant sign is how time feels. Linear time is an illusion maintained by observer loops. When your consciousness breaks free from repetitive patterns, you experience what mystics call eternal now moments. Minutes can feel like hours when you're fully present, yet entire days might pass unnoticed because you're operating from a different temporal dimension. Your sleep patterns are definitely shifting. You might need less sleep, or your dreams have become incredibly vivid and meaningful. Some nights you might feel like you're downloading information directly into your consciousness. This happens because your awareness is no longer confined to the narrow band of reality your observer loop selected. You're accessing information from parallel timelines and higher dimensional perspectives. People are probably responding to you differently without any conscious change in your behavior. Some might feel inexplicably uncomfortable because your presence is triggering their own observer loops to destabilize. Others might be drawn to you because they sense the freedom frequency you're embodying. But here's the urgent part. The waiting season is over. The cosmic window for breaking free from observer loops en masse is closing. This isn't fear-mongering, it's simple physics. Consciousness evolution happens in waves, and we're at the peak of a massive wave that won't recur for generations. Your higher self has orchestrated everything to bring you to this precise moment of recognition, because the transformation possible now will be impossible next year. The collective field is reaching a critical mass where people either transcend their limiting patterns or get locked into them more deeply than ever. The signs are everywhere if you know how to look. Global events that seem chaotic are actually the planet's collective observer loop destabilizing. People are either waking up rapidly or falling deeper into unconscious patterns. There's no middle ground. Neutrality is collapsing because the quantum field demands that consciousness choose its next evolutionary trajectory. This is why you feel such urgency. You can't ignore these insights even when they challenge everything you thought you knew. Your soul recognizes this moment as you listen to these words as the precise convergence point where breaking free becomes inevitable. What you want wants you back. This isn't motivational speaking. This is quantum mechanics at its most fundamental level. Every desire, every vision, every possibility that calls to your soul is a probability wave in the quantum field trying to collapse into your reality experience. But it can't reach you while you're trapped in an observer loop because your attention is stuck on the wrong frequency band. The desires that feel most impossible, too good to be true, are the ones with the strongest quantum signature in your field. They feel impossible precisely because they exist on a timeline your current observer patterns can't access. You're literally one frequency shift away from a reality where those impossible things are your everyday experience. But here's the crucial difference between alignment and attraction that changes everything. Attraction tries to pull things toward you, while alignment dissolves the barriers between you and what you want. Most manifestation teachings focus on attraction, which actually reinforces the observer loop because it maintains the illusion that you and your desires are separate entities that need to be brought together. True alignment happens when you realize that what you want isn't separate from you. It's a different expression of your own consciousness experiencing itself across parallel realities. When this recognition becomes embodied, the observer loop loses its grip because there's nothing left to observe from a distance. This is why forcing, striving, and trying harder actually move you further away from what you want. Every time you observe your reality from the perspective of lack, you're selecting that timeline from the infinite field of possibilities. Every time you check to see if your desires are manifesting, you're reinforcing the very separation that keeps them from reaching you. The quantum field responds to coherence, not effort. When your consciousness becomes coherent, when your attention, intention, and when all aspects of your being, thoughts, emotions, energy signature, vibrate at the same frequency, reality naturally aligns with that coherence. You don't make things happen. You become the space where they already are. As you feel this truth resonate within you, a profound shift is occurring within your quantum field. The distance between you and your highest potential timeline is shrinking, not because of any action on your part, but because you're ceasing the actions that previously kept you separated. In the comments, declare this energetic shift by writing precisely these words: I am coherent with my highest timeline. No explanations, no additions, just that declaration. This isn't about seeking validation, it's about establishing a quantum connection between your consciousness and the frequency where your authentic life resides. This declaration, when made with genuine understanding, is more than just words. It's a signal sent to the quantum field, signifying your readiness to embody a completely different reality. You are announcing the dissolution of your limiting beliefs and freeing your consciousness to choose from previously unseen possibilities. The abilities emerging within your consciousness, abilities past generations would have deemed superhuman, are, in fact, the natural expression of an awareness unburdened by limiting self-beliefs. Your intuition is sharpening to the point of precognitive awareness, not through psychic prediction, but through quantum alignment with emerging possibilities. You are developing what we call reality fluidity, the capacity to consciously shift between probability streams. This means you can literally transition from one timeline to another simply by altering the quality of your observation. Traffic signals turn green as you approach, parking spaces magically appear, conversations unfold flawlessly, creating beneficial outcomes for everyone involved. Your creativity is exploding because your consciousness is no longer recycling old ideas and inspirations. You're accessing insights directly from the unified field, thoughts never before conceived, solutions that didn't exist until your coherence unlocked their potential. This explains why your creative endeavors feel effortless, yet yield more originality and impact than anything you've previously created. People perceive you as a changed individual, even without any conscious alteration in your interactions. This transformation arises because you're no longer unconsciously recreating the same relational patterns. Your presence fosters authentic expression in others, preventing them from falling into habitual behaviors around you. Your physical body undergoes remarkable transformations, defying conventional medical explanations. Chronic conditions resolve without treatment, as your cells receive new information, replacing the constant barrage of stress signals. Your energy levels stabilize at a significantly higher baseline, no longer depleted by the drain of repetitive mental and emotional cycles. The observer effect now works to your advantage. Each observation of your reality automatically selects for increasingly harmonious and aligned experiences, as your consciousness operates from coherence rather than fear or deficiency. Your very presence becomes a blessing, influencing everything around you. Money and resources flow more freely, not because of improved manifestation techniques, but because you're no longer subconsciously selecting scarcity timelines. Your consciousness naturally gravitates toward frequencies of abundance when unburdened by observer loops that perpetuate limitations. Relationships become effortless. You attract individuals who also operate outside conventional patterns. Incompatibility with those still trapped in their limiting beliefs becomes apparent, resulting in a natural evolution of your social circle towards like-minded souls striving for their highest potential. The most profound shift is the cessation of striving, the realization that you've already arrived, that you are already the person you aspired to be. You were merely temporarily trapped by observation patterns that created the illusion of incompleteness. This realization brings an unparalleled peace grounded in direct knowing rather than belief or hope. Coherence is the universe's supreme creative force, unfakeable, unmanufactured, and unmanipulatable. When your entire being, thoughts, emotions, energy signature, and deepest knowing resonates at the same frequency, you become a reality-creating force to which the quantum field responds. This is the ultimate secret, the permanent dissolution of all limiting beliefs. However, most people miss a crucial element. True coherence does not involve forcing all aspects of yourself into agreement. It emerges when you cease fragmenting your awareness across multiple timelines simultaneously. Currently, a portion of your attention likely remains focused on your past self, Another part worries about potential futures, and only a fraction resides in the present moment. This scattered attention perpetuates limiting beliefs by diluting your consciousness across incompatible realities. The quantum field only delivers coherent experiences to a coherent consciousness. When your awareness is scattered, the results are mixed. Some areas of your life improve, while others stagnate. Some days feel magical, others ordinary. This inconsistency isn't a test from the universe. It's a consequence of your insufficiently unified consciousness, unable to sustain a consistently elevated timeline. Creating true coherence demands what mystics term timeline consolidation, the process of withdrawing attention from all parallel versions of yourself except the one embodying your highest potential. This is not visualization or imagination, it's literal dimensional shifting, ceasing the energy flow to realities that don't serve your evolution. The embodiment process occurs when you stop trying to become coherent and instead recognize that you already are coherent at your core. Your essential consciousness has never been fragmented. Only your attention has been trained to focus on fragmented experiences. When you relearn to rest your awareness in its natural, unified state, coherence isn't something you create, but something you uncover. This explains why striving and effort often push you further from coherence. Each attempt to forcefully change your reality operates from the assumption of separation from your desires, thereby creating the very separation you aim to overcome. Coherence arises from relaxation, not exertion, from allowing your consciousness to recall its natural unified state. When you embody this level of coherence, you cease having a personal reality and become a focal point through which the universe experiences itself. Your life transforms into an artistic expression of cosmic creativity, rather than a personal journey fraught with challenges. This identity shift permanently dissolves limiting beliefs as there's no longer a separate self susceptible to repetitive patterns. The highest timeline isn't a superior version of your current life. It's a distinct dimensional experience where the laws of limitation governing ordinary reality simply don't apply. When you embody coherence, you don't improve your circumstances. You transcend the entire framework within which problems and solutions exist. This is occurring for thousands globally. We're not just individually breaking our limiting beliefs, we're collectively transcending the matrix of limitation that has governed human consciousness for millennia. Your personal transformation is part of a species-wide evolutionary leap, redefining humanity. Your presence here is not accidental. Your consciousness incarnated at this specific time because the Earth itself is breaking free from a collective limiting belief that has kept humanity recycling patterns of conflict, scarcity, and separation for millennia. Your individual transformation is a crucial component in the planet's dimensional ascension. Each person who breaks their limiting beliefs creates what quantum field theorists call morphic resonance, a ripple effect that makes it easier for others to achieve the same breakthrough. You're not merely altering your personal reality, you're anchoring a new possibility template in the collective field, naturally accessible to future generations. The children born now will possess abilities seemingly miraculous by current standards, solely because pioneers like you are dismantling the limitations that would otherwise be passed down. Your courage to question the nature of reality itself is literally altering the course of human evolution. This explains the recent sense of responsibility, the urgency to understand and authentically embody these concepts. Your soul intended to be part of the first wave of humans, transcending limiting beliefs and demonstrating the possibilities of a consciousness operating from coherence rather than limitation. You are not merely seeking personal freedom. You serve as a bridge between the old and new paradigms. The synchronicities that led you to this message are part of a broader orchestration involving millions of awakening souls worldwide. We find each other through quantum entanglement, sharing insights that accelerate everyone's progress. Your recognition of these concepts benefits not just you, but strengthens the entire network of consciousness evolution. The most profound aspect is that, as you break free from your limiting beliefs, you don't just change your own reality. You create openings in the collective field through which unlimited possibilities can flow into our shared experience. Your liberation becomes humanity's liberation, as consciousness is fundamentally interconnected at the quantum level. This explains why resistance to these ideas can feel intense. It's not just your ego clinging to familiar patterns, but the entire matrix of limitation recognizing its imminent demise. Every person who breaks their limiting beliefs weakens the collective patterns that have kept humanity trapped in cycles of struggle and separation. Share this message with anyone who resonates, not to convince them, but to help them remember what they already know deep within. The more people who recognize their true nature as conscious co-creators rather than powerless observers, the faster we can transcend the limitations that have defined human experience for too long. Your transformation is part of something far greater than personal growth or spiritual development. You're participating in the birth of a new species, one operating from coherence rather than fear, from unity rather than separation, from creative collaboration with the universe rather than struggle against it. If these concepts resonate deeply, if you feel the truth of these words activating something ancient and familiar within your consciousness, then make a simple commitment. In the comments, write just one word: coherent. That's all. This isn't just engagement. It's a quantum declaration of your readiness to embody the coherence that permanently dissolves all limiting beliefs. When you write that word with genuine intention, you're not just commenting on a video. You're registering your consciousness with a frequency band operating beyond the limitations of ordinary reality. Each person making this declaration strengthens the morphic field, supporting everyone else ready for this leap. We are not just building a community, we're anchoring a new reality template, making this transformation accessible to increasingly more souls ready to remember their true nature. Understand this: breaking the limiting belief is just the beginning. Once your consciousness operates from coherence rather than limitation, you access abilities most consider impossible. In the next video, I'll show you how to develop quantum navigation, the ability to consciously move between probability tracks to create seemingly miraculous outcomes from the old paradigm perspective. You'll understand why some experience charmed lives, while others struggle despite their efforts. It's not about luck, worthiness, or spiritual practice. It's about interfacing with the quantum field to select your experienced timeline, moment to moment. This is not theoretical knowledge, but practical mastery that changes everything. However, I can only share these advanced concepts with those who have demonstrated readiness by breaking free from their limiting beliefs. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. The next video contains information unavailable elsewhere. This isn't content found on Google or in books. It's a direct transmission of quantum consciousness principles downloaded to our planet for the first time in human history. More importantly, subscribe because you're not just following a channel. You're aligning with a frequency of global consciousness evolution. Every subscriber becomes part of a quantum network, accelerating everyone's transformation through morphic resonance. The old reality is dissolving, regardless of conscious participation. The question is whether you'll be a pioneer birthing the new paradigm or someone swept into it later, after the most exciting parts have concluded. Your future self already lives in coherence with infinite possibilities. The only question is how swiftly your present self catches up. Make the declaration. Join the frequency. Let's transcend the limitations that have constrained humanity for too long. The universe has awaited your remembrance of your true self. Today, that waiting ends.